Jay from Team DMA coming at you with another video. So this video is going to be important regarding Dark Magician players, so anyone who plays TCG or Master Duel in general. So for the general, like for the most part and overall generally, people build their deck that they want to play regardless of whether it's worthless, like it's rogue or competitive or not, and they don't care about all that stuff. But there is a group who wants to advance, who wants to have a good win rate, wants to win their locals and whatnot, and they're very confused because they put broken cards and they put all this stuff and nothing works out. They don't win their locals, they lose all their duels online, they're losing a lot, they lose more than they win, and they can't figure it out. Now in Yu-Gi-Oh there's a lot of like sequences and like overall knowledge, card play, timing, um, patterns, combos. There's a lot to Yu-Gi-Oh. Like once you get to the advanced level, like playing the deck ultimately 100% to its potential. But there's also another factor that people always forget, and that's when you go top tier. Like if you want to be competitive, you want to consider yourself top tier, you have to play all the time. You have to play during your turn and you have to play during your opponent's turn. This increases your chances of winning because the opponent is essentially playing against two players instead of one, because a lot of people, what they do is they play a lot of cards that play only during your turn, and then when your turn ends, that's it. Your board is just how it is, and this covers also, it's not an attack in any way, shape, or form against anyone. It's just an overall sequence and knowledge so that you utilize it to win more. Your win ratio will increase a lot dramatically. This also pertains to what is it, Yami Mike, which recently went to his locals twice, and he hasn't been doing so good. If you pay attention to his cards and also overall Dark Magician players, what they do is they'll have cards that play during your opponent's turn, but it's not enough. You have to have impactful. That changes the whole game. They have to be impactful cards. Impactful cards to stop your opponent. So let's say, for example, that I'm playing this hand against Yami Mike's opponent, which was Castira. He was just special summoning, spamming, and then at the same time putting out spells on the board. So this deck is also spells and Dark Magician. We're gonna go through it and take a look at it real quick. Okay, so here we are, and then here we go. So they're gonna start things off. Dark Magician, Rod, activate. They're gonna get, and this was similar to the play that Yummy Mike made. So you put an import and you put monsters and sometimes spells on the board. But if the monster can only play during your turn and the spells traps, it sounds funny, but even the traps, if the effects of the traps are only for you, like it doesn't affect your opponent's board, then the chances of you winning are like dramatically high, depending on how bad your board is, because you're sitting duck. Basically, anybody can shoot at it. And I'm not advertising killing birds. I don't want issues with Mike Tyson, but it could be like a sitting elk or anything, like a sitting deer or a mountain lion, because you're there and the opponent has guns and he's got bullets. So there's nothing it could do but just like look at you or look around, and it's gonna be shot. It's gonna be shot. His life is gonna be taken away. So that's similar how the Yu-Gi-Oh is similar to it. If your board is just a bunch of sitting ducks or ducks that are just on a pond, they're just swimming around, you're easy prey. So you can't do that. So he's got the spell. He's got two monsters. One of them, if it goes away, then he gets to get a spell, but it's not good enough because you can't wait for effects to activate later. If they activate later, your opponent is going to go around it. Also, they might not trigger. So it's an auto loss already. The board might look good to you, but it's trashed. And then afterwards, you can't figure out why you lost. And that's a lot of the issue of the Dark Magician community together with overall Yu-Gi-Oh players. So here's my turn. So I'm going to start off by blasting the back row, illusion, dump, special, trigger, draw, rod, activate, set. We're gonna link, and then at this time, I can go a lot of different routes. I can banish that card. I can banish the back row. I can go to do more draw power. I can actually pop the monsters, attack and pop. I can get rid of them both because Izilia, let me see my graveyard. Oh, we're actually missing one spell to do it, but we can still pop. We can still pop, and it doesn't matter because look at our hand that we have. We have major nasty follow-up for our opponent. And we're going to break the board. We could attack and break it, but I don't want to. So instead of letting them search, I'm just going to let him top deck because whatever he plays, if it's a monster, there's no effect. I could jack it, I could jack the monster, and then it won't have any effect. I have the strongest monster on the board. And then we could get Rod to our hand, we get Dark Magic Attack, we get Dark Magician to the field, and then we have follow-up of Illusion to Magician Souls to dump Dark Magician Girl, Special Summon Magician Souls, and we can send the field to the graveyard to draw more cards. And we have Rod, and Dark Magician, and then from there we're going to be drawing more. So the draw power is going to keep going and going, and the opponent only had a turn, because when he ended his turn, none of his cards triggered. He could not play during my turn. He could only play during his turn, so he was a sitting duck. Right now, he top deck, he's out of place, and the only play he has, we canceled it. Dark Magic Attack to reshuffle the deck and thin it. Rod back to our hand. So at this moment, let's see. At this moment, basically, when we draw, it doesn't matter what card we draw. We're gonna go to Souls, dump Dark Magician Girl, Special Magician Souls, activate to discard Skill Drain, and then even if they had a hand trap, it wouldn't matter. Infinite Impermanence or Ash or anything they had wouldn't matter because we don't really want to do any drawing with Magician Souls. What you're trying to do is Rod to the follow-up. And then you're going to do the Rod. Then you're going to get the Circle. Then you're going to trigger, you're going to get, I'm sorry, you're going to get the Soul Servant. Soul Servant, stack Circle, activate Circle, but you're going to be drawing 2 from the Servant. Circle, activate Circle. That's going to let you draw something else. That's a lot of drawing. You draw 2 with the Magician Souls. Rod with the Surge. Servant, draw 2, then Circle, then draw again. And then we can link again to draw again with the Spellbook Engine. It's just way too much drawing. You're going way too fast. You're already in the 6th turn because you're drawing to the future. The opponent's barely 1 turn. It was too much. And in the 2nd turn, he stopped decking. He's got nothing. So you're going to play the Circle. Then from the Circle, you're going to banish that card because you don't want it to trigger its effect. So once you banish it, and then you can get rid of the Rod. Then you're going to have all that draw power with the Dark Magician coming back. The Salvation is going to trigger Dark Magician Girl onto the field. You're going to be going into either Dragoon or Naruto or both. So at that point, you're going to be getting Dragoon, Naruto, Circle, Banish, and then you're going to have this one in case anything goes wrong. If they try to blow your backfield, you got enough negates and interrupts to stop it. Anything too crazy, you can jag it, you can banish in the back row. The deck plays Twin Twister. The Circle Eternal can banish the back row, so even if they spam, there's nothing they can do. You can just jack the monsters, you're going to be banishing them. So that's the whole point of the deck. Even with the Skill Drain, you have to be drawing like crazy, getting resources, replenishing, and you don't want to milk all your hand. You always want to have more resources in the hand in case the deck you're playing is a tier 1 or tier 0. They're going to get rid of your board. I've shown you guys 7 to 8 negates and interrupts is nothing. I've shown you, right? You guys seen it. A lot of the community is fake because the opponent never negates you, never interrupts you, and they show that they're winning. And all of those are lies because when you see the live duels at locals, you'll see how bad people are. They can't even handle no negates and interrupts. They can't handle nothing. But in order for the Dark Magician deck to do well, you have to have a lot of negations. Even if they blow it all up, you have to have good recovery, good draw power. You have to have multiple combos. The Skill Drain has to combo off with a lot of plays. So even in the Yami Yugi duel, let's say he had that board that he had, it wouldn't work because I would Dark Magician and then Dark Magic Attack to clear the board, Skill Drain active. And then from there, I could do double attack and then clear the monsters. And they'll have 1 or 2 monsters. So what I want to do after that, Magician Souls activate effect, right? And then Skill Drain open, route up to the field to banish, and from there attempt to go into a Dragoon or an Arito all over again. And the opponent is going to be top decking. It doesn't matter what he plays, you can negate it. And then you're like, wow. So yeah, that's how you win your duels. You win your duels by getting a lot of resources, a lot of banish. It doesn't matter if they play draw. It doesn't matter what they play. It doesn't matter what card exists that they play in any sort of combination. Nothing will help them. That's the whole point of the Dark Magician. And it has to be fast. The deck has to be super, super fast. If a turn passes and you didn't do something during your opponent's turn, it means you're going to lose. And you should be doing a lot of stuff during your turn and never end your turn with the same board. You're going to want to link or synchro or fusion or do whatever you got to do, but you got to use all the resources of your spell and trap and all of your monsters to get rid of all of the field of your opponent. You have to always leave them top decking. And then I also utilize the village in the right hand, so even if they top deck a good card, when they play it, it'll be negated. The monsters are negated, the spells, the traps. At that point, there's nothing they can do. They can either surrender, waste your time, or surrender. They have to make a choice. And this is the way that the Dark Magician operates. So the opponent lost because he just had a bunch of sitting ducks. He didn't do nothing during my turn. And people always attack me like, well, you play against these weak players, really? Because I'm playing against YCS formats. And they're doing 10 negates. I don't know anyone that exists on YouTube that has those profiles going against them, dealing with 10 negates that can win. Also, my boards are getting wiped out after 7 negates. I have 7 negates and interrupts with Dragoon and everything. They get rid of Dragoon and they blow up the whole entire field. And I still come back and I still win my duel. And when I go again, my recovery is so broken, I can do 4 negates on the board already from that turn and clear their board. That's how broken the combinations of Dark Magician is, but you have to know how to play it. You have to know how to play it. I don't play any card that is not powerful, that will not play during my opponent's turn, or that will not help me draw during my turn. So when you combine the draw power with playing on my opponent's turn, is broken. It's too much, it's too fast. And your opponent will always end up top decking. Your recovery will be good, and you keep going from there. And this is how I get 80 to 90 win rate. Going second, you guys gotta always remember, you gotta do the 2-2-2. Remember the 2 Nibiru, 2 Lightning Storm, 2 Dark Lord no More, 2 evenly matched. And you can play, like I said, 2 Super Polys also. And that'll break the board and it'll give you follow-up. It doesn't matter what they have. It doesn't matter what combination of cards they have. It'll break the board. The only thing you have to remember is you have to have follow-up after that. And in my deck, I have a few 1-card combos, but I mainly depend on 2-card combos. And as the board comes out, I never summon my Bestial Engine. My Bestial Engine is always in the back for when things go bad. Because if you play your Bestial first, like Yummy Mike was doing it, and no offense to him, it's just the reality. If you play them first, then what happens is they go to the graveyard, right? And then when your opponent has the special summon spam and they attack you, you have nothing to recover and no defense. That's another thing about the Dark Magician. Even on top of your hand, on top of the monsters, on top of the spell and trap, on top of all that, you have to have defense on top of it all. It's like stacks on a burger, like a cheeseburger. I hope I'm not making you hungry. If I am, you can go eat. But you have your buns, and then your lettuce, tomato, Thousand Island. You have your patty with the cheese, and they have Thousand Island or whatever they put, and you can throw fries in there. And that's how the Dark Magician deck is too. It has its monsters, negates, interrupts, and then it has its back row for shutting everything off, comboing, and then playing during your opponent's turn, and then floating on top of all that should be also defense. So before I end the video, here it is. It's got the monster, it triggered the effects, it bounced back, it's a high attacker, skill drain, shutting everything off, and then we have the Eternal to back us up, and then we got a good hand here that we're gonna be opening up the field and playing through. And on top of that, if anything goes wrong, we can rob the monster that would potentially break out. And then if they set spells and traps, that won't matter because we're gonna be bringing Dark Magician and the Dark Magic attack to clear the board. And then you can clear the skill drain at any point. So put it simply, you're always in control. You always decide what's happening. You decide to open the door or to close it. And then your opponent's top decking. There's nothing they can do. And the deck can only get faster and faster. If you have any questions or concerns, this is the new AC-130 for 2024. Yummy Mike, I advise you to play this format. It's broken, but the extra deck is very expensive to play. And with that having been said, you guys, God bless. Take care and dark magic attack.